Another successful week for the men's and women's track and field teams prepares them for the impending Atlantic 10 Championship. Hello, I'm Madison Elliott.
And I'm Jake Smolinski. Men's basketball continues its roller coaster of a season with a feverish win in double overtime with nationally ranked VCU. You're watching LaSalle TV's home for Explorer Athletics, SportsLine. Welcome. Another great one for you on this episode as we debut a new segment, Coaches and Coffee. But before, Steve Graham interviews not one, but two of LaSalle's mid-distance runners.
Later, our very own Cody Barr will be here to give you some exploring headlines, followed by the marquee matchup with Mickey Cayleigh. But first, let's catch up on what went down this past week for our athletes. Men's track and field traveled up to Yale University on Saturday, February 7th. Many of our explorers finished just seconds from the first place spots. Sophomore Chris Hunter placed 5th in the 500-meter dash and was less than half a second from the lead and his best time, completing the race in 1 minute and 6 seconds. In the 1 mile run, junior Chris Tremble bested 22 other competitors to place 6th with a time of 4 minutes and 16 seconds. Freshman Justin Guerre continues an immensely successful first season with a 6th place finish in the 200-meter dash, less than a second off the lead. The rookie also competed in the 60-meter dash in the finals for the second week straight, running 6.98 seconds. Nicholas Smart carries on his own rookie success, running the 800-meter run in 1 minute and 52 seconds. Smart also led a team which included Trimble, junior Josh Bird, and graduate student Vince Perozzi in the distance medley to first place. For the 1,000-meter run, sophomores John Pluholtz and Stephen Lemondowski placed 3rd and 4th respectively. Next weekend, the Explorers head out to the Dave Henry Valentine Invitational at Boston University.
And for the women's team, they had a weekend full of personal records at the Yale University Invitational. Leading the way for the Explorers was senior Cayleigh Solano, who won the 1,000-meter run with a time of 2 minutes and 55 seconds. Not only did she win, but the senior also beat her record by 7 seconds. Another senior to win and run a personal best is Molly Mickle. The Explorer won the 5,000-meter run on Friday the 6th with a time of 17 minutes and 38 seconds and bested her old time by a whole 54 seconds. This accomplishment will gain her a spot in the fast heat at the Atlantic 10 Championship. And also competing in the 5,000-meter run were sophomore Olivia Boyer and freshman Michelle Myland, who both finished in the top 10, also setting personal records. Junior Becca Scardelletti ran her personal best in the mile with a time of 5 minutes and 11 seconds. In the 800-meter run, Kate Conville turned in a time of 2 minutes and 19 seconds, a personal best for the junior. Most of the women have off this weekend to rest up for the Atlantic 10 Championship 2 weeks from now in Rhode Island. And honestly, Madison, I heard that you were also at that meet.
Yes, I was. Yeah, it was a great meet. It was the second meet that I ran indoors, but now winter track is going to be over soon. We're going to be starting with spring track, which starts after spring break.
And I also heard it was a PR?
It was a PR,
okay,
but
beautiful.
Still a lot to do, so thanks.
And yes, and speaking of track and field, allow me to introduce a new segment from the brain of Cody Barr, Coaches and Coffee. And so Brendan Rigney had the pleasure of sitting down with LaSalle's running coach, Tom Peterson.
Hello and welcome to the first edition of Coaches and Coffee here on SportsLine. Brendan Rigney here alongside of me, track and field coach Tom Peterson. Tom, how are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's been a little bit of a busy day, but I'm glad I can come out here and sit down with you, have a little bit of coffee.
A little bit of coffee,
break from the day, and
we're just mellowing out.
Utilize our local Starbucks here, which is great.
So tell me, you're head coaching now. This is your first year track and field and cross country.
Yes.
And you were an assistant coach here for you mentioned 3 years.
3 years before. Yeah.
What were you doing before that?
Before that?
Before that.
It depends how far back you want to go. I was in diapers at some point, but no. As far as coaching goes, I started out my I guess I would say my coaching career in grad school. I went to Appalachian State University for grad school. I completed my 5th year of eligibility there, and then I was a grad assistant there, and that's where I kind of caught the coaching bug a little bit. I fully intended to continue on with my education and get a PhD, and then I realized I could be a coach and never have to go to class again. So that was enough incentive for me. And then I moved out to the University of Wisconsin to be a volunteer coach with my mentor and the coach I ran for in undergrad at Iona College. I was at the University of Wisconsin with him for 2 years before getting the job here at LaSalle. So I've been a little all over the map. I grew up on Long Island, so when this job came up, it was an opportunity to come back out to the East Coast, which was important to me.
And how do you like LaSalle since you started working here? I know, you've been here for 4 years now, so this is something you typically ask.
I love it. I love it. I know when I first got the job here, they asked me that I sat down to do meet the new coach thing, and I said the one thing is I never ever in my life expected to live in Philadelphia, but now that I am, I love it. It's great. No. I'm a New Yorker. You know.
Oh, well, there you go.
New Yorker, New York sports fan, which you got to watch out for. But I just never thought I would end up living in Philadelphia, and the first big job that I went after ended up being here, and I'm really happy that I'm here. I just got married in January, so
congratulations.
My wife and I now live here in Philadelphia, so for the foreseeable future, this is where myself and my family will be. So it's exciting, and I'm happy that we're here.
So you're here now.
Yep.
And you're coaching constantly, and you love to make your student athletes run. Obviously.
Yeah. Inflict pain.
When I didn't say that. You said that.
I did. It's all right. I'll stand by it.
I'm not going to let them know. They'll just have to watch. There's incentive for you guys to watch finally. But tell me, what do you do in your spare time when you're not telling the kids to run?
In my spare time,
you read books.
We're constant. When I'm not telling them to run, I'm recruiting a lot. So that's part of the job too. But the big thing is it's just kind of spending time, obviously, with my wife and spending time with family as much as possible. That's something that I like to do. Definitely likes hanging out on the couch on a Sunday that I actually have free and putting on Netflix just like anybody else and binge watching something or another. But other than that, that's it's a pretty simple life.
Okay. Well, now this brings us to
drinking coffee.
Oh, drinking coffee.
There you go.
And you're free. I do that when I'm not free, though.
I do it when I'm free, busy, anytime I get a chance.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Yeah.
It's a lot of coffee.
You gotta keep it going.
Well, this actually brings us with the coffee. Brings us to my new favorite segment, the speed round.
Oh, all right.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask.
I'll do my best.
I'm gonna ask you a few questions.
Sure.
And you just first thing that comes to mind, you go ahead and say it.
Okay.
What you got in that coffee cup?
Medium with half and half and sugar.
Is that what you typically get, that kind of
Generally,
coffee?
Yeah, milk and 1 sugar.
Okay.
Unless I'm at the Dunkin' Donuts up by there, then you have to be pretty specific about how much sugar you want.
They put so much sugar.
Yeah.
It's an obscene amount of sugar.
Yeah, you learn.
Oh,
it took me a couple of years to figure it out.
I've been going to Dunk since 7th grade, and I still don't exactly have my order down. It's just,
you know what? It changes with everyone you go to. So I think I just pick a standard one, milk with sugar, and sometimes it's sweet, sometimes it's not.
It's taking a gamble there. A gambler over
rolling
here.
The dice. Rolling the dice. That's the only thing I gamble with.
What was the last thing you watched on Netflix?
Lost last night.
Really?
Rewatching it for the third time.
I read that a polar bear is involved in that.
Oh, there's polar bears.
Is it significant, the polar bear?
Yeah, I mean, as significant as anything else is in that show. I guess everything is, but you'll never know.
What is your favorite candy?
Oh, like my man Beast Mode, Skittles.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Speaking of, how did you like the Super Bowl outcome?
I was all right. I actually just hired my new assistant coach, Ryan. He's from Massachusetts area, huge Patriots fan. So, I gave him some support and lended my cheering to him for the Super Bowl. But more importantly than that, I loved that. Did you see the segment on Conan with Marshawn and
with Gronkowski? Oh my gosh.
Classic. Classic one-liner.
I'm surprised he got the two of them in a room together. I mean, I don't know. Gronk hold something like that against
No,
someone
it was
from the other
great.
team,
It
but-
was. I mean, it was before the Super Bowl. So
yeah.
it was the two perfect personalities to pick.
Question about the Super Bowl again. Do you think if they handed the ball off at the very end to Marshawn Lynch, would they have actually scored? Because this is speculation from.
I mean, yeah, you got to believe that he was going to get it in there at some point. I don't necessarily hate I know a lot of people hate the pass, but I think the pass was mainly to set up Marshawn for two more running plays, but it just was poorly thrown and intercepted. It just happens.
I have another final question.
Sure.
And this does involve how savvy you are with what's trending on social media. There's a I believe it was an NCAA. No, was it? I think it was an NBA game where a player went and careened off into the off the court and into a waitress who had a tray of, I believe, 6 or 7 drinks. And smacked her over, and just took her out.
Yeah.
Have you seen this?
I have not. No.
Okay, I need to tell you 2 things.
Okay.
1, you need to see it.
All right.
Because it's a little comical. And 2, I remember when I saw it the first time, I just thought that poor waitress. And then the next day, it turns out it was SportsLine's very own Cody Barr's sister who works at the games, and she got taken out.
Is she all right?
She's fine now, I heard. I heard the player apologized. It's a developing story. We'll have more for you later.
I'd be eager to find out what the end result of that. Maybe, hopefully it's like golf, where if they hit you with a ball, usually the guys, they'll throw a couple $100 bills your way for hitting you.
I would love if someone threw me a couple $100 bills my way.
I wouldn't turn it down.
Yeah, make it rain, you know. So.
Yeah, of course.
All right, well, thanks again.
No, thanks for having me.
This was pleasant. I think pleasant's probably the perfect word for this.
Yeah, that's a good description.
Can we do this more often off camera? You know, catch a coffee?
Yeah, we can. Come stop in the office. We're at McCarthy Stadium. It's a little harder to find, but it's just underneath the stadium. We're there.
I'm
there a lot. So
I might have to take you up.
Hey man,
okay, well,
you're more than welcome.
All right, well, thanks again.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yep. Brendan Rigney, Coaches and Coffee, first time, spectacular. Back to you guys at the desk.
The women's basketball squad managed to get back to their winning ways on February 7th, just barely edging out UMass 71-69. The game was highly competitive throughout, featuring more than 10 lead changes in the first half alone. In the second half, the teams traded leads all the way up to the 46-second mark, where the score sat tied at 69. The Explorers managed to force a Minutewoman turnover with 16 seconds remaining. Alicia Cropper held the ball to kill the clock until only a few ticks were left on the clock. She would draw a foul from a UMass defender with just 2 seconds remaining and make both free throws, sealing the 2-point victory. Amy Griffin led all Explorers with 17 points while adding 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, and 1 steal.
The team continued their homestand on February 11th when Duquesne visited the Gola Arena. The Dukes came into the matchup as heavy favorites and showed why in the first half, leading by as many as 13 at multiple points. The team dominated LaSalle in the first despite a 7-0 point streak by the Explorers at the end of the half to close the gap at 33-27. The Dukes extended their lead to 10 right out of the gate in half 2, but a 17-7 Explorer run that followed tied the game at 44. The Dukes caught fire and pulled away again on a 20-8 run. This proved to be too much for LaSalle as they fell 72-66. The team played well together, shooting 43% from the field while forcing 22 turnovers. Micaiah Owens led all Explorers with 17 points.
Coming off 2 straight conference wins against St. Joseph's and St. Bonaventure, the men's basketball team donned new gray uniforms to take on the Richmond Spiders on Thursday, the 5th. LaSalle started strong in the first half, scoring 40 points and hitting 15 of 19 from the foul line. The second half was a different story for the Explorers, as the Spiders' defense only allowed 2 points for the next 11 minutes. Luckily for the blue and gold, 4 Explorers reached double-digit points to keep their offensive attack balanced and plentiful. Jarrell Wright led LaSalle with 15 points, followed by Jordan Price and Khalid Lewis with 13 and Zach with 11. LaSalle held on to win the game by a score of 64-62, tying their season-high win streak at 3.
Unfortunately for the men, 3 would be as big as this winning streak would get. On Sunday the 15th, LaSalle traveled to Amherst for a rematch with UMass. Just like in early January, the Minutemen outlasted the Explorers and won the game 66-59. From the opening tip-off, LaSalle failed to get into a rhythm. The Explorers cut the UMass lead 4 times to come within 4, but that would be as close as they would get before the Minutemen would pull away again. To the surprise of no one, Jordan Price paced the offensive attack that kept the blue and gold in the contest. Price scored 30 points, making it the third time this year he scored 30 points or higher. The last Explorer to accomplish this feat was Stephen Smith, who did so in the 05-06 season.
Not letting the loss to UMass affect them, the men traveled to Richmond to square off with 20th ranked VCU on Wednesday, the 11th. The masses demanded a competitive one, and they weren't disappointed. Both halves were, quote, a war, as STP's Tyler Harper put it. The game shifted gear towards the end with 29 seconds left in regulation. However, as Jordan Price hit a three-pointer, his first basket in 11 minutes to tie the game at 54 and send it into overtime. The first overtime period saw both teams match each other blow for blow, with each scoring 8 points in the extra frame and setting up a second overtime period. Here, it was time for Price to play the role of hero yet again for the Explorers. The transfer-turned-phenom scored 12 of his 34 points in the second overtime to power the Explorers to a 74-69 victory over the Rams.
And this takes us to our first break, but we do have more for you at home.
That's right, Jake. Steve Graham chats with Cayleigh Solano and Taylor Hackett of the track and field team. And later still, Cody Barr will be here for Exploring Headlines.
Stay tuned. Welcome back. We've got a special interview in this week's edition of On the Sidelines, as Steve Graham sat down with seniors Cayleigh Solano and Taylor Hackett of the women's track and field team. Take a look.
Hello, I'm Steve Graham on the sidelines today with two seniors of LaSalle's track and field team and cross-country team. This season really never stops for these two. We have Taylor Hackett with us and Cayleigh Solano. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. So you're just getting back from Yale University where you competed in your last competition. Can you tell us a little bit how that went?
I had a good weekend. It was fun. I ran the 1,000 for the first time this season, and I ended up winning and PRing by 7 seconds. So that was, never really had a bad race at Yale.
Yeah, winning's never bad.
No. Yale's my favorite track, so it was fun to be there.
Oh, that's great. Did you race at Yale?
Yeah, I anchored the DMR Friday night, and then I ran the mile Saturday as well.
So really, when we say the season never stops, you start with cross country in the fall, and then do you get a break at all before winter track starts, or is it just go?
This year, our coach had us take off like a solid 10 days or so and get ready for the indoor and outdoor season, since cross country just leads right into indoors. The only good break we could have would be between cross country and indoors. So.
And the both of you're considered a distance runner, and Cayleigh, you're strictly mid-distance. But how do you some really consider the 800-meter like really a tough race to prepare for. It's just how do you train week after week to just continuously go faster?
Well, I strictly, like on the track, it's strictly middle distance, but I do run cross, and that really helps get my strength up to run the 8. But it's just because it's such like technically the longest sprint. So I just do a lot of strength training, but I'll usually do like repeat 4s or the tag 3 just to get some quick turnover and get some speed going. And we'll do Tuesdays we'll do stronger stuff, and Fridays we'll do more speed work.
Cool. And for you, Taylor, for the mile and the 1,000 you've been running, how's that working out for you with your training wise?
Good. Yeah, I like running cross a lot. I'm more distance than she is, and so it's good but I like to run fast stuff too, as well as the mile and the 800. I'll run the 4x8 sometimes.
Now, did you two coming from high school, were you the same way, running the middle distance, running the mile, or was there a transition that the coaches here at LaSalle saw, that you could be better in this race?
Well, high school was a little different for me because in high school you have to run like pretty much everything. So I was running everything from anchoring the 4x4 all the way up to the 2 mile. But like my best event was always the 8 and the mile. And we just kind of stuck with the 8 when I got to college.
Yeah. Well, there's probably more people on the team, so that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
But as for you, did you stay with distance your whole life?
Yeah, well, I mostly ran the 1500. We didn't have the mile in high school. So, and the 1500's outdoors here, whereas the mile is indoors in college. So I ran mostly the 8 and the 1500 in high school, and then I would run the 3K every now and then. This year particularly, I've been running the 3K a little bit more. So I've been focusing on that. I like it. I enjoy it a little bit longer.
And there's really some significant differences that people say between indoor and outdoor track. Obviously, the track is a lot smaller, so there's more laps in it. But what's the biggest difference to you? Is it just the atmosphere? Is it a lot louder in there? What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, the biggest difference for me is that you're not like against the elements. In indoors, there's no wind, there's no rain, there's no nothing. It's easier to run faster almost because you're not running into the wind, which is nice.
So do you prefer the winter time?
Yeah, I definitely prefer indoor over outdoor.
Are you the same with that?
Yeah, I love indoors. I just feel so much faster, and you don't have to worry about the weather.
Oh, banked tracks are really fun.
And banked tracks are fun.
So the A10s are also coming up pretty soon, right? The championships. I know you have
Yeah.
one
Next
or two.
week.
Oh, next week.
Next weekend.
Next weekend.
So are
21st
you-
and 22nd.
So you're going to be competing in the DMR again. That's the distance medley relay.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the 800 as well.
At A10s, I'm running the DMR, the 800 leg, the K, and then the 4x8.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to start off with the 1200 leg of the DMR instead of anchoring, and then I'm going to run the 3000 on Sunday morning.
And now I got to ask, this, we're wrapping this up soon. The both of you are seniors, and you've had your 4 years here at LaSalle. Is there a favorite memory of running, an embarrassing moment that you want to try to forget, but it's always going to be there? Or is it just a moment of success that you want to carry that with you for the rest of your life?
I really enjoyed my time here, and I really liked indoor A10s last year. I placed 5th in the mile, and I don't know if there's really any embarrassing moments, but.
Do you see yourselves continuing running after graduating,
definitely.
just
Yeah.
competing in
Yeah.
charity runs, or is it?
Yeah.
I'll always run.
Yeah,
but-
I don't think I'll ever stop. I'm just not going to go as intense as I do now because it's very exhausting on your body after 8 years.
Yeah, well, run, Forrest, run. Why not? Well, thank you, Cayleigh and Taylor, for joining us today. This has been another On the Sidelines with SportsLine. I'm Steve Graham, and thanks for joining us.
It's time for another commercial break, but stick around. Cody Barr will be back when we return.
And later, Mickey Kelly will have his pick for this week's marquee matchup.
Hungry for LaSalle TV? Check us out on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Check out our Twitter. And continue watching LaSalle TV.
Welcome back. Cody Barr is here to give her edition of Exploring Headlines. Take it away, Cody.
Thanks, Madison. Let's get to it. He's been the subject of many discussions and stories concerning men's basketball, and he's helped LaSalle win yet again, this time earning himself a personal accolade. Jordan Price has been named Player of the Week by the Philadelphia Big Five. Price scored 30 points in the loss to UMass and 13 in the team's win over Richmond. The redshirted sophomore now has 4 games in which he has scored 30 points or more, the first in the A10 to do so this season. Men's and women's cross-country teams can add an honor of their own to the collection. The USTF-CCCA has named the 2014 squads all-academic after earning GPAs of 3.15 and 3.35 respectively. Both teams are one of 8 A-10 teams this year to earn the distinction. Also of note, freshman Morgan Zeckley earned all academic honors individually. She's the 10th female runner and the 15th of both teams to earn this award. The U.S. women's basketball team for the 2016 Summer Olympics in Brazil will now feature a LaSalle alumna on the coaching squad. Cheryl Reeve follows up her spectacular career at LaSalle and in the WNBA coaching with a position on the sidelines for the U.S. national team. The class of '88 grad was present for 2 NCAA tournament appearances in her time at LaSalle, which was named Coach of the Year in 2011 for her season in the head of the Minnesota Lynx' staff. Reeve also helped the U.S. team win the gold at the FBIA Championship in Istanbul last fall.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Cody.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here.
No problem.
So now that we've covered the past, let's look to the future. Mickey Kelly brings us this week's Marquee matchup. Check it out.
Hello, and welcome to another exciting edition of Marquee Matchup. I'm Mickey Kelly. The women's lacrosse team will open their 2015 campaign with a game of fetch against the Golden Retrievers of University of Maryland of Baltimore County. The women's lacrosse team is coming off a successful 2014 season with a record of 11-6 and number 3 seed in the Atlantic 10. Many players earned academic honors and several Player of the Week accolades. Now here are 2 players to look out for this Saturday. First is goalkeeper Gabby Antonelli. Gabby is coming off an impressive rookie campaign, which includes honors such as 2 Atlantic 10 Defender of the Week awards, number 4 in save percentage with .492, and recorded 128 saves. Gabby also made crucial saves that led to comeback wins and caused 6 turnovers during the past season. The second player to look out for is senior Cayleigh Brastrand. Cayleigh led the team in scoring with 41 points scored, 31 goals, 25 ground controls, and a team high of 10 assists. Cayleigh also scored 16 out of 17 games last season. She's currently 8th in school history with 125 points, 112 career goals, and 59 draw controls. She is looking to leave her mark in her final season with the Explorers. And now, with much at stake for the 2015 season for many other players, here are the keys to the game. Start hot with pressure. It may be mid-February, but what is wrong with starting hot? The ladies need to continue their success from last season and be a dominant presence on the field. It all starts with a combined team effort. The ladies found much of their success when they pressured their opponents with their shots on goal, which last season was .439. The second key is great defense. Many sports analysts say that a great defense is a good offense. The ladies must cause turnovers and use them to their advantage to dominate their opponents. Last season, they outscored their opponents 304 to 277. And finally, repeat. Yes, I say it again, repeat. As mentioned earlier, the ladies must repeat the same success they had in 2014 if they want to go farther in the Atlantic 10. They are playing good teams this season, yet they must find the same success, if not better. That can give them a higher seed for the playoffs. You can catch more headlines and updates on the women's on GloExplorers.com. For this week's Marquee Matchup, I'm Mickey Kelly. Go Explorers.
Well, that just about wraps it up for us this week. If you can't make it out to see the Marquee matchup, make sure to tune in next week for our coverage. Be sure to keep up with us with this weekend's sports events by following us on Twitter at SportsLine LTV. We post game updates and sneak peeks into the upcoming show.
Also check us out at facebook.com/LaSalleTV. We welcome you to send us your own thoughts and suggestions about the show on either website.
For Cody, Steve, and our entire SportsLine team, I'm Madison Elliott.
And I'm Jake Smolinski. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you at the game.